This is Taxi Vlog 274. It is the 4th, I believe, of October, and I'm late for work. Well, I'm always somewhat late for work, but I'm later for work than usual. You see, it seems that I slept in today. And this time of year I have this strong tendency to sleep in because there is more melatonin in my brain than there is at any other time of year. When the days get shorter, I don't get enough sunlight, and when I don't get enough sunlight, for some reason I feel like staying awake in the morning. My body wants to stay awake, and then of course once it's sleeping, it wants to stay asleep in order to compensate and get as much sunlight as it can. It's not an easy time of year for me, and like I said, it makes me late for work. Not that it really matters. Nobody's going to get in any trouble, and there's nobody going to give anybody any shit, and it's just me. It's just money I'm not making. But in the morning I will stay out a little longer if I need to make my money, and that's it. It's not a problem. There's nobody on the car on Saturday mornings. So if I'm busy in those hours, it's okay. It will work out. So my week. First week of the month is usually a little slower than the rest of the month because everyone's just been paying their rent and other bills that come in. And so, well, I'm no exception. You know, I have to have my money ready to pay the rent in advance. And in the last month I also paid half my income tax for the year, so I've taken care of that. That was done. I don't have to save for that anymore. Now I'll just save up for car insurance and vacation for the rest of the year, because, you know, between September and the end of December, we generally make enough money so that we can put a little bit aside, which is something that cannot easily be done in the first 9 months of the year. 9 months of the year is hand to mouth, or at least it has been since the recession 4 years ago. And people say, "Oh, recession, that's ancient history. That happened a long time ago." Yeah, well, you know, we're still feeling it. It's the economy, I believe, is slowly coming back, as I kind of predicted it would, and I gave it 10 years. Well, it's had 5. So hopefully in the next 5 years, I'm being optimistic here, things will pick up almost to the point they were at 5 years ago. Yeah. So how did my week go? I had Monday I came out. It was quite relaxed. It wasn't very busy, but it turned out that I suppose a lot of cars went home, so I ended up doing a reasonable amount of calls. You know, 1 or 2 an hour for the most part as the night went on. And because the lease was low, I ended up taking some money home. That was good. Tuesday I came out, and I did well. I had longer fares and good tips, and at one point I got sent to a house, a little house, which was in an industrial area, you know, where they have recycling stuff, and they have a couple of factories and warehouses and car repair places and garages and stuff. And got sent to this place, and it said on the MDT, multiple bags, multiple trips. Okay. So these 2 little ladies, they were about 4'9". I'm not kidding. These ladies were short. One of them spoke with an Indian accent. So we are having these bags and we are putting them in the car and we are taking them to the business. Okay, so they took those to a Mexican spice store, believe it or not, and bags full of rags, just clothes that they're trying to sell, or I don't know, just bags full of clothes that they were storing in the basement of this little house. And we filled up the cab, the trunk and the back seat, right up to the ceiling, so much so that the two little ladies sat in the front seat. Fortunately, we were only going a few blocks to the Mexican spice store where all this stuff was going. So that was pretty good. And you know, I didn't charge them when we loaded the car. And at one point, the Indian lady said, "You are giving us a good price, so we take you tomorrow," or something like that. But we are going after the store. Anyway, we had a couple of trips in the car. The first time they both sat in here. The second time there was room in the seats for them both. And after we got rid of all their stuff at the store, they both got in and went across town. So like I said, I didn't charge them to load the car initially, and I didn't charge them on the last offload. I just paused the meter. And still, you know, when we got to their destination, it was $32. I mean, I spent a good hour with them. Almost an hour. And, you know, $32 for 1 hour, isn't that marvelous? But, it worked out that I was given $40 by the Mexican lady who we stopped at her house last. So, like, my night was going okay then. I ended up with, actually it was my best night of the week. I took home over $150 for myself after paying lease and fuel and everything. That was all right. Wednesday was just slow. And the thing about Wednesday is just, you know, one trip an hour, waiting and waiting and waiting. I read about 100 pages in the book I brought along, and in a 10-hour shift, 100 pages, that's 10 pages an hour plus working. And at one point, I got this one call that was from a pizza place near where I usually sit and wait. And it was the pizza guy, and he doesn't remember me from one time to the next. He always asks me to give him my card with my phone number on it, and he never calls me. He calls the office when he needs a cab. He said, "Oh, I always go with this guy or with that guy." Oh yeah, well, yeah. He goes with him first. I don't like doing business off my cell phone. I like doing business off the office so that, you know, the call is near where the car is, and this way you don't develop that close familiarity as if the customer thinks you're their best friend, and then that you will do all kinds of favors for them and shit. I learned that lesson long time ago when I first started driving cab. Not to get too personal with the customers, because then, you know, they'll be expecting you to do all kinds of shit that's not part of your job description. I could tell you some stories, let me tell you. But I don't think I have time for that on the way to work tonight. Are you turning left? Oh, you bastard. Oh, that's okay then. Okay. Fortunately, they made their left turn fast. So I took the pizza guy out to where he lives, out in the western communities, and it's like a $30 fare. I got $35 for it, you know, that's okay. And yes, I gave him my card, and I don't expect him to call. But that's the only thing that saved my night. I ended up taking about, anyway, it was well under 100 home, and you know, it's just long, just very long waiting, and was that kind of night. I even fell asleep at one a couple times. It's that falling asleep, even though I get myself a large coffee from Tim Hortons. The melatonin this time of year, it's just flowing. October, I think I'm the most vulnerable in October because, you know, there is a tiny little hint of daylight at the beginning or end of my shift, and it's like a teaser, you know. Your body wants more of this. Okay. Oh, now you decide to turn. Oh, it's going to be a goofy Friday. I think we had a new moon last night. Yeah, I think it was last night. Okay. So, got through that Wednesday okay. Now, last night I came to work, and it felt quiet. There wasn't a lot of traffic on the road. There weren't a lot of... Didn't seem that there was much going on at all. I just sat in my customary spot, started reading my book. I didn't bring the computer to work because this week it seems that activity on YouTube is kind of slower than usual, and I was able to see everything I wanted to see at home before coming to work, or in the morning after getting home and, you know, winding down and having my dinner in the morning and that kind of thing. So just sat there. I was reading, you know, the book. I'm still reading this one here, The Sword of the Lady. It's really good. I've got about 200 pages to go. I shall have that finished by Monday. And I won't be reading at home all weekend. I'll be reading in the car only tonight and Monday night, something like that. Maybe Tuesday. Anyway, really enjoying this one. Although there are some peculiarities in the italicized parts where the characters are talking to themselves, and we will not have this problem. The now is one of those difficulties that the main protagonist has. We will not have problems with this. The now. It's like, you know, they're trying to make it sound like medieval. Sterling's gone a little far, I think, but he's trying to make it medieval, and I think he's trying to show that the people who were born after the change are so much different from the people who were born before the change, when electricity stopped and so on and so on. I could go and read the book, okay? Anyway, I was reading the book, and I got a call to a condo building that was just around the corner from the parking lot where I was. And the guy comes out with like a backpack and another smaller bag. And he gets in the car, and I'm thinking, oh, well, where are we going? The West Coast Trail? And he says, oh, just a minute, can you pop the trunk, let me check and see if I got my passport. I knew that would happen soon. Dies the battery. I got fresh batteries in there. I brought fresh batteries with me so that we would be able to finish this vlog, yes. So I was reading my book, and I got this call, and the guy had like a big, okay, back out of your driveway without looking. It's going to be fun tonight. So the guy checked in his bag and saw that his passport was still there, and he's going to the airport. So the first call of the Thursday night, we go to the airport. Lovely. And then I came home. I came back into town after doing that. I'm thinking, okay, I can coast. And I worked. That was at about, you know, just after 7 when I got that call. About this time of night. It's 7:15 now. And I came back into town after that. I was back in town 8 o'clock, and I worked from 8 till 6 in the morning, and it was slow. I just took a little over 100 home for myself, and that was with that $55 airport at the beginning of the shift. So it turned out okay, but you know, it was hard. It was a hard 100 and a bit. It was a lot of waiting. It was a lot of reading. I think I read 140 pages from The Sword of the Lady. But you know, the air porter at the beginning was encouraging, and I was hoping for another one at the end of the night, but you know, I just got a few fares in the morning that were trickling in, and I made the best of it. And it all turned out all right. So now I'm going to work about half an hour or more, 45 minutes later than I usually am. Maybe even an hour. Sometimes I'm there at 6:15, but now it's 7:15. Fortunately, in the morning, like I think I was saying before, there's no one on the car in the morning, so if I need to stay out late, I will. It's just that, you know, on Friday, when we get to Friday, I've already done the Monday, the Tuesday, the Wednesday, the Thursday, and whether I was busy or not during those 4 nights, actually, if I'm busy, I'm more energized. Because things were kind of on the slow side, I'm just tired and not too enthusiastic to come to work on Friday. Anyway, I'll get back to you in the morning when I'm really good and tired and telling you how tonight went. Wait and see. Well, it's about 3:45 in the morning now, and I've had a few adventures. I was having a lot of slow traffic getting in my way early in the night, and every time I was getting sent on a call, it seemed that the call was far away that way, so I'd have to turn around and go get it. And at one point, it was just difficult, you know. I was busy working but not making any money at it. Short trips and long distances empty to go get the next call, and so on and so on. Now at 3:45, it's quieted down a lot. I was just, until about 11 or so, I just couldn't do much right. I couldn't get it in the groove. And then between 11 and 2, it went a lot better. Between 11 and 2, I did okay. In those 3 hours, I made $150. It just went good. And decent trips, long distances, but you know, there were also some long distances I was driving empty in between there, and but it ended up okay. And then at about 2:30, I was sent to a house, and I got there and phoned the phone number that was on my screen here, and the guy said, I thought you said 5 to 15. You didn't say you'd be right here. And I said, well, sorry, you know, sorry I got here so soon. He said, oh, it doesn't matter, I'll be out in a heartbeat. Okay. So 10 minutes later, after I had shut the engine off, and after I had turned the lights out, I start hearing voices, so I start the car up. Somebody comes out the door. This guy comes out to the car and opens the door, but instead of just getting right in, he lit a cigarette. And then he proceeded to climb into the car. And I said, please don't smoke in my car. I couldn't believe that he was lighting a cigarette and getting in. I said, hey, you know, I quit smoking years ago. He said, well, what kind of a night have you had? And I said, well, it's been a mixed bag, you know, it's been ups and downs, it's been good and bad. He said, and you're taking it out on me? I said, no. I'm not taking anything out on you. So, he was holding the butt from his cigarette. And then I said, so, where do you want to go? He says, going to Langford. I say, whereabouts in Langford? And he says, Fennel's RV. Now, the only Fennel's RV I know is not in Langford. So I said, I'm sorry, I don't know where that is. And he says, 6 Mile Bridge. Okay, I can go to 6 Mile. By the pub, no problem. And then he's saying, can we have some tunes? I say, well, what do you like? He says, classic rock. Okay. Put the radio on. It says, in my world, it's about pleasing the customer. I didn't like this. And I said, well, if somebody smokes in here, I'm the one who gets shit for it. Oh, well, this is not your car? He says, no, I'm a lease operator. It's not my car. He says, oh. Then he mumbles something else. And I didn't know what the hell he was saying because he wouldn't speak up. And I said, pardon me. And then we turned the corner and he said, see, I told you. It was a police roadblock. So we got to the roadblock, and a policeman comes along and shines his light in. Hi, how you doing? He says, it's just a one fare. Yeah, it's a one fare. Okay, good. Start to drive some more. Going out the highway. Fucking guy lights up his cigarette again. So I opened the windows. I opened all the windows. He says, close those windows. At that point, I stopped the car. I pulled over. I said, get out. I don't even want your money. Just get out. And he showed me the butt from his cigarette. It's out, okay? It's out. And he wouldn't get out. So I started to drive some more. I was thinking of hitting the panic button, but I didn't do that. He says, okay, you can let me out here. Yeah, the son of a bitch. He didn't want to pay for a cab. He just wanted to get to there. I know when they pull that kind of thing, they don't have the money, they don't want to pay, they just treat you like shit and do everything they can to piss you off, and he was one of those. You know, sometimes people who are a little bit on the rougher side, you can sort of talk to them in such a way that they understand where you're coming from and that they're being inappropriate. Before we had stopped the final time, he said, no one's ever done that to me before. I said, really? I'm thinking he's talking about kicked him out of a cab. Oh, I got a call. But anyway, he was gone. I peeled out, or I left. My tires squeaked a little bit as he was out, and I got sent to another address, which was a hard one to find. The house was dark, everything was black, there were a lot of trees, you couldn't see the address on the house, but I sort of pinpointed it, and then a message came up on the screen, did such and such address leave anything behind in the car, or forget something in the car. So I called our office on the phone. Finally, when I loaded a customer and I was driving, and finally he said, the dispatcher answered, and I said, no, the guy didn't leave anything in the car. And I said, and he made it as difficult as he possibly could all the way. And he says, well, I can't talk to both of you at the same time. He was calling to get back at me, or to get me to go back, and I wasn't going to go back, whether he had left something in the car or not. But the dispatcher said no is 23. Look at this list of codes we have. I'm supposed to remember no is 23 when I'm dealing with a total fucking asshole who's being unreasonable and disrespectful, and how am I supposed to remember code 23? I was about to hit the panic button. Anyway, our dispatcher's an asshole, and if he sees this, I don't care. He knows he's an asshole, and I've had problems with him for 18 years. Fucking prick. Anyway, now I've had a couple more fares. It's almost 4 now, and that was at 2:30 that I dealt with that prick, and it was done by 3. So yeah, 2 more hours to go. If anything really eventful happens, I'll tell you about it. Other than that, hope yours is better than mine. Have a good night.